to the Empress Unfiltered. Last episode, I told you the loneliness builds you, and I meant it. But here's what I did not say. Sometimes, even after you've built the thing, you still feel like a fraud. You can have the business, the patience, the training, the results sitting right there in front of you, and there's still this little voice that goes, "But who do you think you are?" So today we're talking about imposter syndrome. The thing nobody at the top will still admit they probably still deal with, the thing that does not care how qualified you are, the thing that gets the loudest right after you do something amazing, because that is the part that is so backwards. Imposter syndrome never shows up on your worst day. It waits. It waits until after you do a beautiful treatment, right after a patient cries happy tears in your chair, right after a successful revenue day, a 5-star review, and then it taps you on the shoulder quietly and whispers, "Yeah, but you got lucky. Don't get used to it." Which is honestly rude. Let me describe this voice because I think we need to put a face on it. It's the voice in your head that questions your every move. Yet this voice has no license, no patience, it never built anything, and somehow it's got an opinion on everything that you do. It watches you do work that took you years to learn and it goes, "Anybody can do that." It watches you charge what you are worth and it goes, "Why do you think you should charge that?" It watches your post, it watches your before and afters and it goes, "Someone is really going to find out you don't know what you're doing." As if you're running a con, as if the certifications on your wall are fake, as if the hours of training and all the hard work you put in didn't happen, as if you scammed your way into your own skill. And I want to talk about that specifically because in my world, in the world of aesthetics, in the med spa space, the stakes feel really personal because people aren't handing you a spreadsheet. They're handing you their face, their confidence, their body, their wellness, the way they feel when they look in the mirror. So when the voice says, "Who do you think you are?" it hits different because there is real responsibility here. And I think it's actually where a lot of imposter syndrome, I think where it comes from, is people who are actually good at what they do. It's not coming from carelessness. It's coming from caring so much. So let me say that again because I think somebody needs it. A lot of your imposter syndrome is not proof that you're not qualified. It's proof that you take this seriously. People who don't care do not feel like imposters. They are too busy being confidently mediocre. The ones that lie awake at night, replaying a treatment, wondering if they could have done one thing better, those are usually the ones that are actually good. They're good at what they do. So if you feel it, I need you to consider that you might have this a little bit backwards. Fear is not the evidence that you're bad at this. A lot of the time, it is evidence that you respect what you're doing. So let me be honest about this. I have my own version of this, and we are unfiltered here. I came from healthcare. I have the background. I have the training. I put in the hours. I've done the work, the certifications, the education. I did the late nights, the studying, and I took the time to learn to do things that most people will not learn. And some days my brain still goes, "But do you though?" And in my head, I'm like, we have the receipts. The certifications are on the wall. But the imposter syndrome does not read your resume. And this is the part that took me a while to understand. I used to think that confidence was something you earned. Like if I got enough training, if I had enough experience, and with all the good outcomes, that one day I would feel like I've arrived. I would feel like I belong. And the voice would finally get quiet. But here's what nobody really tells you. The voice does not leave when you level up. The voice levels up with you. Because every new level has a new version of who do you think you are. When you start, it is, who are you to do this at all? When you grow it, it's basically, who do you think you are to charge that? When you expand, it's, who do you think you are to lead? Who do you think you are to teach? Who do you think you are to be seen? Who do you think you are to start this podcast? Same voice, new outfit. So if you're waiting to feel ready before you feel worthy, I got bad news. Ready is not a feeling that arrives in the mail. And I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this. It brings me to one of the biggest traps in this industry specifically, the credential treadmill. And I talked a little bit about this on episode 2, the idea in aesthetics that it is so easy to feel like you need more to be more, the more devices, the more products, the more trainings, the more certifications. And listen, education's amazing. Staying sharp and keeping up with your education is what's going to keep you good. I will never tell you to stop learning. In fact, keep learning, but be honest with yourself about why you're buying the next thing. Because sometimes we're not buying the education. We are buying the permission. We are trying to certificate our way into feeling something. We think once I take this next course, I will feel more legitimate. And then we take the next course and we feel legitimate for a week. And then the voice comes back and says, okay, but there's another course and you should take that before you really count. And that's not professional development. That is imposter syndrome wearing an ugly blazer, because no amount of external proof will ever satisfy internal doubt. You can stack certificates to the ceiling, and if you have not dealt with the belief underneath, you will become a very well-educated person who still, unfortunately, feels like a fraud. And I've had to learn that the legitimacy I was chasing was not on the other side of one more training. It was on the other side of me actually believing in my own hands. So let me talk about where confidence actually comes from, because we also get this backwards too. We think confidence comes first. We think, well, once I feel confident, then I will show up. Then I will charge my worth. Then I will put myself out there. But that's not how this works. Confidence is not a thing you feel before you do the hard thing. Confidence is the residue of having done the hard thing. It comes after. It comes with reps. It comes from doing the treatment scared and watching it turn out beautifully. It comes from sending posting that post. It comes from telling the patient how much this treatment is and then being like, okay, and proceed with it. It comes from posting the content scared and someone DMing for a book. You do not think your way out of imposter syndrome. You work your way through it. Every single time the voice told you not to do that thing and it goes fine, you collect a little piece of evidence. And over time, you build a case against that lie, because you have to actually do the thing to collect the evidence. And I'm not telling you to bypass your intuition. I'm telling you, when you're afraid to post something or change your pricing because you need to charge your worth. So I want to make an important distinction, because this one is sneaky. There is a difference between humility and self-erasure. Humility says, I'm always learning, which you need to be. And self-erasure says, I'm not good enough to be here. Those are not the same thing. But imposter syndrome loves to dress up as humility. It will convince you to downplay yourself, that charging less makes you down to earth or affordable, that the shrinking keeps you likable. But there is nothing humble about hiding what you worked hard to become. False humility is just fear with better marketing. You're allowed to be skilled. You're allowed to know you are skilled. You are allowed to say out loud, yeah, I'm good at this, without immediately apologizing for it. This is not arrogance. Arrogance is thinking you have nothing left to learn. There is always something to learn. Confidence is knowing what you bring while still being willing to grow. And that's the duality again. Skill and still learning, confidence and still humble, proud of your work and still hungry for better. That is not a contradiction. That's maturity. And here's something I have to say about comparison, because comparison is imposter syndrome's best friend. They work together. You scroll and you see another injector, another provider, another med spa, another woman who looks like she has it all figured out. Her rooms are prettier, her space is bigger, her edits are crisper, her following is bigger. Her captions sound so sure of themselves. She got amazing angles, and the voice goes, see, she actually knows what you're doing, what she's doing. You're over here playing dress up. But you're comparing your behind the scenes to her highlight reel. You're comparing your doubt to her edited confidence. You have no idea what that woman feels like at 9 p.m. in her own car. And for all you know, she is comparing herself to somebody else, feeling exactly what you feel right now. Because here is the secret about imposter syndrome, it's almost universal at top. The people you are intimidated by are often intimidated by someone else too. The room full of people who have it all together is actually a room full of people hoping nobody finds out they're figuring it out as they go as well. Everyone is figuring it out as they go. The difference is some people decided not to wait until the feeling went away to take themselves seriously. That's it. That's the whole difference. They did not feel more ready than you. They just stopped letting the feeling have the final word. Now, let me bring some of the Empress into this because that's who I embody and that's what really matters here. It doesn't mean that doubt never shows up. It means that doubt does not get to run the room. And the Empress is not a woman who never hears the voice. She's a woman who hears the voice, lets it finish its annoying little speech, and then makes the decision anyway and continues to keep going. She embodies it even before she fully believes it, because sometimes you have to be her on the outside while the inside is still catching up. You walk in like you belong, you treat your patient like the professional that you are, you charge like you know your worth, and slowly your insides start to believe what your actions have been demonstrating. You do not wait to feel like her to act like her. You act like her until the feeling becomes true. And that's not faking it. I want to be clear about that. That is not fake it until you make it in a dishonest way. You are not faking skill. The skill is real. You have the skill. You put in the hours. You earned it. You are just refusing to let that feeling override a fact. The fact is you are trained. The fact is you are capable. The fact is people trust you. And yes, you're providing results. The feeling is, I'm not sure I deserve this. And when a fact and a feeling disagree, you have to stand on your own and go with the fact. You don't lie to yourself. You don't stop letting the scared part of you drive the car that is not qualified to operate. And let me give you something practical because we're not here just for vibes. When the voice gets loud, I want you to do 3 things. First, name it. Say, oh, this is imposter syndrome, not truth. Because the moment you name it, it loses some of its power. It's no longer the truth about you. It's a feeling visiting you. And feelings visit. They do not get to move in. Second, look at your evidence, not your feelings. Your evidence, your patient results, the reviews, the repeat bookings, the fact that people keep coming back and referring their friends. People do not refer fraud. People do not trust their face to someone they think is faking it. Your patients are smart. And if they keep choosing you, that's data. Believe the data over the doubt. And third, take the next action anyway. Because action is the only thing that has ever actually shrunk this voice, not affirmations alone. And we all know I love my affirmations. Not waiting, not one more certification, action. Do the treatment, charge your worth, post the content, take up the space, and let the results pile up as evidence against the lie. Because every time you act in spite of that voice, you are casting a vote for who you are becoming. And eventually, that woman's going to win by a landslide. So here's what I want to leave you with. You are not an imposter. You are a woman in the middle of the becoming, and the becoming is uncomfortable. The discomfort is not a sign that you do not belong. It is the feeling you are growing into a space that is bigger than the old version of you. That stretch you feel, it's not fraud, that's expansion. And you do not feel like an imposter because you are unqualified. You feel like an imposter because you are doing something new, something brave, something most people are too scared to even attempt. The feeling is not a verdict, it is a growing pain. So the next time that voice asks, who do you think you are? I want you to actually answer it out loud if you have to. You are the person who got trained. You are the person who took the risk. You are the person who opened the doors when it would have been safer to stay comfortable. You are the person patients trust. You are the person who keeps showing up, even scared. And that is who you think you are, because you are not pretending to be something you are not. You are becoming that girl in real time, and that becoming counts, even on the days you do not feel it, especially on the days you do not feel it. And that is the Empress Unfiltered. And the truth is, the most qualified people in the room are often the ones quietly wondering if they belong there. So if that is you, good. You're an excellent company. Now, go act like her until you believe her. And I'll see you on the next